Now, school activities for hundreds of pupils in the Sene East District have come to a halt after 8 pupils lost their lives while crossing the Water Lake on their way to school. They were among 20 pupils on board a boat crossing the lake without a life jacket from the Ategome community to Wayokope. Now, since the incident happened, JoyNews understands the students have not been able to attend school. Let's get some more clarity on what is happening there in the district. Joining us through Zoom is District Chief Executive of Sene East, Jerome Kofi Jima. Grateful to you, Honorable, for joining us. Why haven't students been able to attend school as of yet?
Thank you very much. May I extend my condolences to the bereaved family, the district, and the entire nation as well. As I did indicated earlier on my subsequent submissions, looking at what had happened, the regional minister came with his team. We went there earlier, we went with the chiefs, and understand they have to purify the water. They did it. So the chiefs is in talks with the traditional leaders, and they have almost done what it is for them. But the issue has to do with the children going back to school. That is why we are in talks with the bereaved family. As of yesterday, the police institution needed them to have a discussion with them, of which they came to the district, closer to the district capital at the police station, that is Koyokun. And we had a discussion with them, including the police administration. So they've returned as of yesterday, and we are looking forward to meeting with them once again so that we can actually talk to the parents.
Okay.
Already we had a discussion with them, and we are told that they are preparing to also purify the children so that they can actually go back to school.
Okay. Now, so how soon can students or pupils expect to travel up the lake to go back to school?
Actually, we are looking at next week or next 2 weeks. But at the moment, some of the teachers are also scared, and we need to also talk to them. And we are in talks with them, and we think that it will serve a good mood for us to get them back to school.
So, in terms of the purification, do we know what it entails?
Much as I've been briefed by the traditional leaders, when we got earlier, we didn't know this issue. So later on that we were told that a man passed on the water and it was not purified, and hence the repercussion that we find ourselves. So once it has been purified, they need to also take the children through one of these things, and then they will get back to school. And I think when it is done, this fear and panic that exists between the parents, the community, and then the people will be eroded. Once it is eroded, they will get back to school.
Yeah, so we wanted to understand the purification process. What does it entail, if you know?
These are traditional issues. And much as we are in Africa, we have a belief that our shrines always get angry when some of the things hurt them, and for them they go with punishment. So having gone through this, the traditional leader begin to find out what might have caused it, because Sene River, it hardly we see some of these things. So it was then that it was notified that there was a man who died on the water, and traditional leaders were not informed. So the Sene River became annoyed and need to punish us on that regard. So they went through the traditional process. Well, we have to send what they call it, a ship. About 2 of them. One is for the old incident, and the other one is the new incident. We have about 2-3 fowls, the snacks, we will call it snack, and then other 1 or 2 things that they needed to purify the water, of which the traditional council has done very well. Then let me use this opportunity to thank the traditional council. It has been one of the unity that we had earlier. It is difficult to have Basa Traditional Council joining Nkumi Traditional Council, but when this incident happened, they all came together to purify the water, to mourn with the family, to go with us to the community. It tells you that although we are mourning, it is also uniting the family, the traditional council, and then the assembly as well.
Okay. So grateful that you let us in on all of this. Let's now talk about the life jacket. Following the directive from the regional minister, have you received enough for the peoples?
As we speak now, we haven't received enough, but I think that what we supplied to them earlier, like I did mention to other stations, we had distributed more than 200 to communities and on the riverbanks. And we expect that they use them. Our problem has to do with the enforcement of the usage. If you are living in this Sene River, joining the hotel, and you are mingled with the people, if you are a stranger and you put on the life jacket, they feel that it's like Usu, na BNC. And for them, they are not used to wearing the life jacket. So we have to educate them. We have to let them know the dangers ahead. You could swim, but there is danger ahead. That what happens if you couldn't swim or something held you in the water? But if you are on life jacket and something held you in the water, the life jacket could save you. So they will have assumption that, oh, me, I can swim. So why do I need life jacket? So we are looking at that angle. The last time I also mentioned that we need philanthropists, NGOs, government agencies and institutions to also assist us when it comes to life jacket. We have been told that within these days I've spoken to the Zoo Lion, the Ecozua, and they've promised us that they are going to look at that. There is a sizable one for the children. So they are going to look at that one so that they can help through assembly, then we'll be able to provide to the communities. We have a lot of communities that children crosses from one place to another before they can have access to school. That is why we still make a request that government institution agencies, and like your station, you can also put it upon yourself so that you make that request on our behalf. We'll be happy when Joy FM or any other media stations bring some of these things. And then let me also use this opportunity to reiterate our request that we made through the regional minister to education minister, that we have people who have been trained when it comes to education, Winneba, Jackson, and then the UCC, and they are in the house. They are used to our water. When you post them, then they will stay and teach. When it happens so, they will not be crossing over here and there. Even if you haven't gotten approval from the GES, you can have a neck, and those people will be in those communities to teach them. So the minister had made a promise that is going to be in talks with the GES and then the Ministry of Education so that we can get those people employed. Okay. So we want to also use your media to request that the government, through the education minister, should also have a second look at, because I have been in his office more than 3 times, and he knows me very well, requesting some of these names to be recruited. And I think this will be the opportunity for us to get them recruited and then post them to these areas, and thereby averting this kind of predicament that we find ourselves.
Okay. So how many of these communities do we have that do not have schools and therefore would have to have people crossing the river to go to school?
We have more than 50 communities along the river. And then more than 22, you have to cross the river before you get to those communities. And then we have the small one, about 10 houses, 15 houses, 5 houses. That one is more than 50 that they have to cross to a particular place before they will be able to access education. So when it comes to Sene, let me give you the picture very well. When it comes to Sene East, when you get to where the incident happened, what you call Atiga government there. When you get there, then you are more or less under the Sene East, because we have the forest there, the Abuja forest. So we share a boundary with Sachafan Plain North and Sachafan Plain South. We have parts of our district given out to Eastern region. These are across Seoul and thereabout. We have given them to the Eastern region, and they are part of us. Because of the distance and the nature of our water, we cannot be doing economical job. But when it comes to census, they have their information in our system. So that is the problem that we find ourselves. Okay. So these are issues that we are looking at so that we'll be able to check. Okay. But when you go to that, just behind that place, we have the what is Dambai, which is the Oti region. We share boundary with them, and then we share boundary with Karachi West. That's the major place that we share boundary at East. Then we share boundary with Karachi Churu, and then we share boundary with
Okay.
Karachi. Sorry.
So the major challenge is that there are no school buildings in many of the communities, right? Is that
many of the communities? Exactly. There are no.
But from the way you explain, it looks like these are scattered communities. So what's the solution in terms of putting up school structures? How do you do it so that...
Assembly is doing what we could do to get those people classroom blocks and thereabout. But Assembly alone cannot afford it. That is why always I say that we need NGOs, philanthropists, government agencies, institutions. We have done proposal. We assigned MOU with Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. They help us to write some of the proposals. We have sent them some to, I personally sent them to GMPC. We sent some to Australian Embassy, Japan Embassy, MTN, Vodafone, a lot of the, including Madame Fugana, which is an NGO, UNICEF.
So how many school buildings do you need now?
If I get about 20 to 50 schools building, I'll be happy about
20
that.
to 50, 50?
Yes.
Okay. So back to the jacket. How many jackets have you received now? If the students should get back?
Now, apart from the one that Assembly we distributed, we haven't received any other. Okay. We are just working around the clock to get additional one for them.
And how many have you distributed?
We distributed about 200.
200. After the incident or before the incident happened?
Before the incident.
Okay. So it means that these children who were in the boat had some of these life jackets but didn't put them on. Is that the understanding?
No, that is why earlier on my submission, I mentioned that we have distributed the life jackets to them, but our problem has to do with people not wearing them.
Okay.
So when you come to our area, a lot of the boat owners have the life jacket, but when they give it to them, they will not wear. Until somebody is there to say, oh, me, I'm a marine police officer, if you don't wear, I will arrest you. And they are on the major borders between Ketikrachi and KJG.
Okay.
That is therefore.
So what have you done? What have you done in that regard to ensure that as the pupils are now coming back to school, maybe a week or two, they would start wearing or putting on these life jackets when they are crossing the river?
So before then, we had trained through the what they call it, through Zoom Lion. We've been able to.
So that's the DC for Sene East District Assembly, Jima there. But